Huh? Kaboom!
Oh my god. Okay. This is called Stealth in Video Games by Nakey Jakey. Let's see it.
Stealth. The art of being completely undetected.
Yes.
As if you were never even there. Knock, knock.
What was that noise? Me.
Oh!
I am that noise. I am the must have been the wind. I am the whistle from the hay bale. I am the one who crouches behind enemy and presses square many time. I am the shadows under light, the night vision goggle sight. I am the one whose footprints are these in the night. I am Stealth. Man, stealth is a gaming concept so commonplace, you're probably shocked if you can't crouch behind enemy.
Oh my god, the freaking behind the scenes footage, man.
Whose footprints are these in the night. I am Stealth. Man, stealth.
I can't. 11 out of 10, man. This is what peak stealth form looks like. You might not appreciate it, but this is what it looks like, chat, all right?
Stealth is a gaming concept so commonplace, you're probably shocked if you can't crouch behind enemy and press square in your padded out open world game. But stealth is a lot more than just a simple takedown or tacked on gimmick. It's a powerful tool that can completely change how a video game is designed. And
Yeah, that's what some people say, but you know, at the end of the day, sometimes it's for the random, you know, casual player to feel super badass even if they're really not.
played. The act of sneaking around has had such a monumental and storied impact on the gaming medium. But when is stealth good? When is it bad? How do we make it better? How do we make it glad? It's important that we talk about it all right here, right now, but we also gotta be kind of quiet so we don't. Are you? What? Dude, I'm literally invisible.
Dang it! Not again! Listen, chat, in the old Assassin's Creed, I like to pretend that I was the first one who figured out how to jump perfectly into the hay bale from a window, okay? But if I'm being honest with myself, every other player was able to do that, you know? It wasn't really a crazy feat, but, like, to me, I was like, yeah, baby. Nobody saw me going in that hay bale.
Okay. So, like I was saying, if you ask a gamer what the first stealth game is, you'll likely get some different answers. Oh, it's Castle Wolfenstein. That game let you wear enemy disguises. Nah, bro, the Book of Guinness of being world record green and sparkly says it's 005. That game had enemy vision cones. Assassin's Creed Altair Chronicles is a video game that I own, but the correct answer actually seems to be Shoplifting Boy in 1979.
What? What a name. Was it a simulator? It kind of looks like a simulator, doesn't it? It's like a grocery store and you're going through, and I guess maybe not. That is hilarious. Shoplifting Boy.
Predating even Pac-Man by a year, you take on the role of the titular iconic boy as you walk around a store avoiding this guy and stealing Thai dollar
They
signs.
look like they're dancing. They're like, da-da-da-da-da, I work at the grocery store.
This prehistoric, barely comprehensible game still successfully established two core tenets of the stealth genre. Don't get caught. Grab anything that isn't bolted to the ground. Beer before stealth, have good health. Stealth before beer, you're gonna have fear. Okay, so now let's fast forward a bit to 1987, and let me tell you something, man. You ever heard of a fucking Kojima production? Metal Gear is the godfather of all modern stealth games. To quote Mr. Ludonarrative Dissonance himself, Clint Hawking, without Metal Gear, there would be no stealth games. I don't think he's not British. More so than any game
I was gonna say, that was an interesting accent, but I mean, true.
For Metal Gear Solidified stealth as its own genre. A lot of games at this point had mostly been about conflict. Shoot everything on the screen with your big gun. Holy shit, you're huge. But Metal Gear said, You're not some super soldier with infinite ammo. You're a fragile little snake, and you actually want to avoid combat as much as possible.
He's just a little guy, okay? He's gotta be careful. He's just one guy.
Dispatch guards, acquire gadgets gadgets like suppressors to use guns without alerting everyone. Metal Gear was originally supposed to be a combat-heavy shooter, but because the MSX couldn't have all these bullets and enemies on screen at once, Kojima, in a stroke of genius, utilized his limitations and realized the power of disempowerment. And remember—
Wowee! Disempowerment! I didn't realize that was why. That's hilarious. It's like, oh, we wanted it to be combat, but that would have been a lot of resources.
Remember that word, write it down, because it's very important to me in my invisible body. My man is horny as hell, and this is not how humans talk, but man, I so deeply cherish him and his productions, okay? Don't forget, they're his productions, okay? Now let's fast forward a bit to the most important year for stealth games, and maybe just all video games in general.
A wealth of stealth. I was gonna say, in a lot of earlier game titles, it seems like stealth was a really big thing in them. Seemed like it was trendy back in the day. And I never got to play these, okay? You know me, I'm like a newer gamer of sorts, so I didn't play any of these older entries, but...
3 sacred seminal stealth games released in 1998, and every modern stealth mechanic can likely be traced back to one of these 3 games. Metal Gear Solid, Thief, and my boy
Alright, I'll be honest, boys. I've heard of Metal Gear. I never played any of the Metal Gear games. I've heard of Thief, I haven't played it, but I've never heard of Tenchu. Is it any good? Is this a banger? I've never heard of this one. Old but good? Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I think Metal Gear's most heard about, Thief second most, and Tenchu least. But I could be wrong, alright? I didn't play any of them.
Metal Gear Solid is a straight-up gaming monument for so many reasons. The cinematic presentation and voice acting, the creative fourth wall breaks, part where Otacon pees himself and then you let a wolf pee on you, come to think of it, Kojima—
Wow, I didn't realize that happened in those games. I might need to play them now.
Productions kind of have a lot of P-type beats, but the Soliton radar and predictable enemy AI that gave you clear chirps on what they're thinking or doing, the game had an amazing sense of feedback. You always understood what was going on. Thief showed us how tense and atmospheric a stealth game could be when played from a first-person perspective, giving the player—
This looks a lot like Dark and Darker, chat. Is Dark and Darker inspired by Thief?
a lot of freedom while also
I'm sorry if that's a jump or something, because like I'm just seeing like my brain just thought of how it looked a lot like an older Dark and Darker, okay? So I'm sorry if that is a really bad comparison.
Empowering them, there's that word again, to instill a palpable sense of danger. Big interactable maps with mechanics like light and sound engaging with the player's abilities and environment and immersive—
Why? This game looks so good. I've heard about Thief, but I've never seen any footage. This was ahead of its time. Holy crap.
sim, if you will, and you will. I checked. Hello? Hello? You know, usually there's like a guy that I yell at, but I don't see— where the heck you get off to? Hi, I'm Jakey, and Jakey, attorneys at law. As an extremely successful, sexy lawyer, I live a very fast-paced, busy lifestyle.
Wowie.
A lifestyle that makes it very easy for me to forget that I need to eat food, and then it's too late, and I'm hangry, and I'm
Bro,
screaming.
that is actually relatable, because I did that today. I was like, oh crap, I probably should order something, because I totally forgot, like, I'm a human that needs to be fulfilled by sustenance, unfortunately, and I did not cook anything.
Screaming at my clients. Go to jail, it's a state overrule. Factor's meal planning and delivery of meals right to my doorstep is a lifesaver and keeps me from being disbarred. Because the second I realize I'm starting to go sicko mode, I can have a fresh, never frozen, delicious meal prepared in 2 minutes. And not just any meal. Chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals that I don't even need to leave my enclosure to get because they send them to me every week in a box. Modern shipping is a marvel. Factor has a variety of over 35 meals to choose from, with options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, and more. Before Factor, I would often fall into the trap of just ordering food through an overpriced delivery app with a bunch of stupid fees because my hangry desperation would set in. Not only is Factor
Yeah, that's what
cheaper,
I'm about
but
to do today. My hangry desperation will make me, in fact, order food most likely later.
it helps me stick to a more balanced diet because it takes
He's talking about me!
all the guesswork out of clean eating, so I'm not just filling my body with random mid-tier loot. Head to
Not the
Factor75.com.
mid-tier loot.
or click the link below and use code NAKI50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code NAKI50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month of orders. Yes, chef. Thank you, chef. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to trying to find out where the heck that guy went off to. Oh, wait, hold on a second. I think I see him. I think I see him right there. Whoa, oh, he's kind of coming. You're kind of coming at me fast. Slow down, slow down. Ah! Ooh, drop the bass. Yes. Oh my God. Tenchu gives you nightmares if you watch your brother play it at a young age, and prioritized freedom of movement within a 3D stealth sandbox, letting the player parkour.
You're like a ninja. What the heck?
Across rooftops and do flashy, cool, big.
Bro, he just did a front flip too.
Forward press square behind enemy sword moves. That sounds a little bit familiar. Scratch his head.
Yeah,
Fucks.
wait
Okay,
a
history
minute.
lesson is over, but let me ask you something, man. What's gonna happen when an enemy? Oh my God! I'm literally a phantom menace.
Oh. What is it? Look at
Big
this.
sword. Literally a phantom.
What is going on? Is he kicking him? He's in stealth. He's kicking nothing. No one's there.
Menace. Getting caught in a stealth game never feels good, but it especially doesn't feel good if you don't fully understand why or how you got caught. It doesn't.
Yeah, or it feels cheap, right? Have you guys ever played like a stealth game where like you did the correct things, but somehow like the enemy like AI picked you up anyway, and you're just like, nah, bro. There's no way you would have known I was there. Ain't no weighing. Ain't no weighing.
Matter if the rules are unrealistic, it matters if they're consistently unrealistic. I don't care if the enemy AI is dumb as hell, that's fine. I care if they're consistently.
Yeah, that's true. It's like if you got through a lot of the game with like an understanding of like when you're hidden and when you're not, and even if it's dumb, like at least then it's like you kind of know what to expect and you can kind of learn to get better at it, like with your tools available. But if it's like sometimes like doing gameplay like you're doing works, and other times like one of the UIs one of the NPCs like randomly can see you miles away, and there's not really a discernible reason, it just feels like both.
Dumb as hell in a way that I can predict and manipulate. Do guards look up? Do guards look down? Will guards hear me if I run? Will a guard see through my disguise if I stand too close to them and
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if this is not consistent, it can just be frustrating because it's like, well, what was I supposed to do, right? Then you can't get like better at the game.
whisper my birthday? It's December 28th, by the way. If one person sees me, then why does everyone in the galaxy know exactly where I am now? If the rules aren't consistently made clear, then playing the game will feel like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle, but the pieces keep changing size and color and shoot you with glocks. It's so much better when the game clearly communicates that, hey, this is where the enemy thinks you are with, you know, a clear visual cue, or the enemy.
And this is where the UI comes in too. It's like, oh man, I super agree. I feel like a lot of like games that are really bad like don't communicate how to get better at the game or how to be rewarded in the game. They just like a lot of times will like increase punishments as you go.
He yells, I think she's over there! The radar in Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 is great for giving you clear feedback, but you can also end up playing a lot of those games just staring up at this square. It's the same with games that have that magical X-ray see-through walls vision. It's very easy to end up playing through a very beautiful game through this ugly lens, which just is not ideal. In a social stealth...
I could see that. I didn't even think about that. I haven't played a lot of stealth games, but yeah, it's like you're playing a really immersive game, but now that you added that mechanic, it's a lot less immersive, I guess.
Puzzle box game like Hitman, the X-ray vision makes a bit more sense because you're trying to keep track of so much information at once. But for more active like action stealth games, I think Far Cry actually established a really sophisticated solution with the marking mechanic that Metal Gear Solid 5 also later adopted. It feels a lot more immersive and engaging to actually have to pay attention and clock the enemies yourself, but then the game gives you an assist and says, okay, we'll help you keep track of everything now. But even with all this help, sometimes you might still mess up and get caught from the shadows. I've been here the whole time. That's right, and my greatest stealth move is that this video is actually about difficulty.
Oh no. Yeah, like some stealth games are really hard. Or at least I feel like they are as a casual gamer. I think I played one of the, I don't know which one, like Deus Ex. I could not play that game. I kept getting caught no matter how stealthy I tried to be. I was like, this game's too hard.
If I had a nickel for every time I talked about Anthony Birch on this channel,
I think I'd have 3 of the nickels. It's not my fault, okay? If MFs like him and Egoraptor didn't make videos like this, MFs like me would probably be working at Chili's right now. And I'd be wearing fucking Altair's robes too, talking about, oh, you want a refill? Boom! Anthony has a great video on difficulty where he talks about Metal Gear Solid 3 and how playing on the highest difficulty of Extreme actually forced him to play a stealth game like a stealth game. AKA, usually when you get caught in Snake Eater, you can pretty easily just CQC everyone and run to the exit. But on Extreme, you die a lot faster, so you can't as easily just brute force your way through. This one
so if it's a weird balance, right? Because like sometimes you can get player dedication if it's more difficult, and like with the whole like being stealthy as a mechanic shouldn't be easy. It should take some extra level of cautiousness and like care, right? So it kind of makes sense that the more you would have to like be very careful about what your choices are, especially if like horror games actually kind of do this decently well. But it's like a lot of the games where you're in horror, the reason why it can be more immersive not to be armed is because now you feel like you're helpless. So if the creature or whatever is coming after you is scary, it's like it makes you more immersed in the game, and it makes you a lot more like what's the word? Cautious and like thoughtful before you make decisions, rather than just like running through it slowly. You like think through everything a lot more. Like you stop yourself, and like I don't know what the word is. Like every choice counts more so, I think is what I'm trying to say.
simple change forced him to actually utilize all of the different Kojima productions at his disposal and improvise creative stealth solutions. In this right here, this holy union of stealth and difficulty with a side piece of improv is incredible to experience, but unfortunately not always the default experience. Ghost of Tsushima, a game that—
because like the second this gets too hard for the average player, it feels too punishing, right? It's like a weird middle ground where you have to hit a sweet spot with making the game really good and like making things like very reliably understandable for like if you get caught. Because if people feel like they can't understand how to win, like where the win condition is, they'll get frustrated and quit. Like if the difficulty's too high, right? So it's like a give and take.
I haven't talked about a lot on this channel, but one that I deeply cherish. Just look at this shot. Yeah, that's gonna pump the gas, all right. Playing on normal difficulty the first time, I had zero issue just sprinting into combat all of the time. And as great as the combat is, Ghost, being a disciple of Drop the Bass Tenchu, it also has a lot of flashy, fluid, stealth ninja stuff. Parkour, grapple hook, chain assassination, kunai, flute, songs, bow to your sensei. But like, you don't really need to use any of that stuff. On lethal difficulty, though, it's a completely different situation.
Oh,
the enemies—
I never played it. I tried it on, like, the easier difficulty. And yeah, I thought the combat was a little bit mid-tier.
now kill you in like 1 to 2 hits, but also you kill them in like 1 to 2 hits. The kunai goes from being a fun, cute little toy to an essential difference between life and death. A smoke bomb isn't just a cool move, it is the key to surviving an onslaught of enemies. Every technique point spent can drastically change your chances of survival. This kind of increase in difficulty is the right kind of increase in difficulty, not just for stealth games, but for all games in general.
I also think it's good, like, Ghost of Tsushima has the option where you don't have to care about it and you could just experience the story if that's why you're there. Or if you want the combat to matter more, then you can change the difficulty. I think it's good to have both options, right?
Just make the enemies spongier with way more health. Raise the stakes in a way that pushes the player toward using all of the tools in their tool belt. And for most stealth games, that magic—
I hate when I up the difficulty, I notice that the difficulty is in fact like making them have a larger health bar. I'm like, there is no point then.
Word, say it with me, you wrote it down, is disempowerment. You're much more likely to utilize stealth in Sekiro for these exact reasons. Everything will kill the S word out of you if you don't. The S word is sword. One of the greatest stealth levels ever, all gillied up and call it—
kill the sword out of you, your spirit out of you, your soul will be crushed out of you.
Duty 4 has extremely punishing combat if you get caught because, yeah, you are severely outnumbered, motherfucker. Sneak around. Dang, okay, I guess I need to run away and hide in this thing.
What is this called? Getting caught sucks.
Yeah, I
but it
never
does
know. I called it the blanket tower when I was younger,
I
by
need
the way.
to run away and hide in this
I
thing.
called this the blanket tower. I'm so sorry for whatever it's actually called, wherever this exists. But when I played this at a friend's house as a kid, I was like, ah, yes, the ye old cloth box. It's the safety zone. It's the blanket tower.
What is this called? Getting caught sucks, but it doesn't always mean the fun part has to be over. In games like Far Cry, Metal Gear Solid 5, the Last of Us games, gameplay can exist in this constant flow between stealth and combat, leading to some really great improv moments where you're just doing whatever you can to survive. This is why The Last of Us
Or where you get an option, right? There's some games where it's like you could choose to be stealthy and it might be better for that mission, and then other missions it might be better if you brute force, blah blah. It's always good if you don't feel like the game is making you play a certain way. Sometimes it's cool to just like whip out your toolbox and be like, which thing do I want to do?
Games on survival difficulty have amazing stealth gameplay, and it actually feels like the way the game is meant to be played, the way that you're, trying to negotiate which resources you're going to use because there's actual stakes. And it's the same thing with multiplayer stealth. Some of the most thrilling stealth moments in gaming can actually be found in online games. And I don't just mean Ass Creed or Splinter Cell or Metal Gear Online, as great as those multiplayer modes are. In a battle royale, you're literally scrambling to survive using anything that you can find. Whether it's a bush in Fortnite or a ghillie suit in PUBG, playing stealthily can hold a huge advantage. Thinking on your feet to trick actual other human players and prop hunt is full-on yes and improv. But as great as those improvised
The problem is though, is like, besides maybe like prop hunt and stuff like that, where that's like the entire game, like the gimmick, it's gimmicky almost. And in a lot of shooters, when like somebody dies because somebody was disguised in like Fortnite as a hedge, it feels cheap. It doesn't feel like well thought out, right? I don't know if it's just me, but the problem with stealth in multiplayer games is it almost never feels like an earned thing. It almost always feels kind of like a cheap, a cheap way to play the game. I don't know how to explain it.
moments are sometimes
It's like you could say I was good when I tried Apex Legends a while ago because I was very good at hiding and not getting clapped, but I was horrible at actually like doing anything beneficial for my team other than staying alive.
stealth games will actually push the player away
I don't think I was good at stealth necessarily just because I stayed like at the outer edge of the map and moved in last second, you know what I mean?
from improvising, whether they mean to or not. Oftentimes, a stealth game can make the player feel inclined to reload a save after getting caught. The Dishonored series is a really interesting example.
I never played through all of Dishonored, but I played the beginning of Dishonored a while back. And man, I thought this game was actually very immersive. I feel like this one really made an impact on me. I really liked how the stealth felt with the gameplay. Like, it really felt immersive.
I've enjoyed playing Dishonored the most after cranking up the difficulty to at least hard so that the combat has higher stakes, cough cough disempowerment cough, but Dishonored also lets you save whenever you want. And at the end of every level you also get this rating screen, which shows how many people saw you and how many people you killed, which changes your chaos rating, which then changes the story. Don't get me wrong, I think Dishonored really does want you to be able to play however you want. And I think it's a common misconception that a high chaos run is the bad ending and a low chaos run is a good ending. It's not good or bad, they're just different. But
yeah, it's just giving you multiple ways to play the game so you don't feel like you're like I don't know, shoeholed into like one way of play style, like one play style you have to choose.
I do think that when you frame it in these terms and you have a rating screen paired with the ability to save scum, it might subconsciously push a player toward a play style that's, oh shit, I got caught and I killed someone, okay, time to reload the save. But I find it's so much more liberating to just let things play out and see what emergent gameplay can happen. The new Hitman games have the same thing. Amazing, complex stealth sandboxes that subtly discourage the player from experiencing emergent gameplay moments because, oh no, my rating at the end will be bad if I do.
Yeah, I feel like Hitman kind of gets a little cheap with it. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you should just play. I should play like that, chat? Is that what you want? I don't know if that's part of the stealth gameplay, but I guess it's quieter than just going in and shoosting, so you might be onto something. It's not a bad thing. I feel like it feels more like arcadey or something. I don't know if I have the right words, but yeah.
this fun thing, so better just reload the save. In all of this, like, I mean, this entire video was really just an excuse so I could say the following thing. Hitman Freelancer is the greatest stealth game ever made. Everything. I mean, literally everything I've talked about, it's in this game. Freelancer is the roguelike add-on that uses all of the same levels, but gives you random objectives and targets across a series of consecutive campaigns.
Is this the latest Hitman, or is this an older one of the Hitman franchise? There's been so many Hitmans, I don't know which one we're on at this point. I don't know how many there are.
No saving and reloading, it's just you, your targets, and a bunch of optional incentives to make extra money so that you can buy better gear to help you throughout your run. Freelancer's random objectives pushes you into situations that you would likely never get into while playing the base game. We'll give you extra money if you wear a funny disguise and throw an explosive baseball at this guy. Oh,
I like that. I do like that. You know, it's like challenge accepted.
You want me to use a goddamn katana? All right, shout out to the Tenchu. Drop the base. Let's figure out how to do this. And because you can't just reload.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to like make it like different every time. Like what gives you the most reward? You know?
To save, getting caught in Freelancer feels extremely tense because if you die, you fail the campaign. But because Hitman's enemy AI and disguise system are so fun to play around with and manipulate, even getting caught can turn into this fun game of cat and mouse. The overall feeling of Freelancer is who gives a shit about a rating, just get the job done however possible. Freelancer is like a goddamn comedy club with how much improv is going on.
Yeah,
All right, so
it's good to add like new challenges and new ways of doing things so it doesn't just feel like you're repeating the same formula. I feel like that's great. I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of the Freelancer thing.
In summary, what did we learn today? A, I am invisible, and there is unfortunately no cure for that. B, disempowerment is a very powerful tool in gaming. C, emergent gameplay featuring improvised creative stealth solutions will always bang. And D, Kojima Productions are in fact productions by Hideo Kojima. Thank you so much for watching my video.
Nice!
What are some of your favorite stealth games? I'm realizing right now that I literally didn't really talk about like horror stealth games after mentioning.
I was gonna say, yeah, the one thing I mentioned was like horror does really good at like making you invested in a game based on the stakes being really high because you're scared and because if you're not armed really, you're helpless. So I feel like they do super well like using stealth in a way that's immersive.
Thief was like started first-person horror, and there's like Alien Isolation, Resident Evil, and all that stuff. Go watch a YouTuber play Amnesia. I don't know. Yeah. What are what are some of your favorite stealth games? Put them down in the chat. I was about to say, what are you wearing? That's weird. Don't comment.
Yeah, don't say that.
What's your favorite pattern of camo? And why is it teal? See you next time.
Anyways, this was a great video. This is from Nakey Jakey. And I feel like if you do stealth correctly in the game, like you can make the game a lot more impactful, right? Especially, I feel like it's even better in solo games myself than multiplayer.